How's it going, everybody? This is Alex Caceres, and you're listening to Story of the Fight.
What up, Will?
What up?
Welcome, everybody. Another week, a Story of the Fight. My name is Ramiro. That's my boy, Will.
What up?
And this is a podcast where we talk all things mixed martial arts. And if you don't like watching videos on YouTube, you can find us on Spotify, Breaker. What else? Radio Public, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, anywhere podcasts are found. But YouTube's is probably the best place because you get to see any pictures that we post, any videos that we're using during the conversation. So if you even remotely like our content, please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. We are trying to reach 2,000 subscribers. Well, we're sitting at how much right now?
We just passed 1,500. We're like 1,505 or something like that.
1,505. Man, to think that back in March, we were sitting at, I want to say like 300.
Yeah,
Something
it was
like
it was nowhere near where we are right now.
Yeah, so we're growing.
Cool. Yeah.
We're growing, and we appreciate everybody joining us for the ride. We got Rich the Casual in the background. Rich, hopefully you got to catch some of the fights last night. I don't know if you did. If you had to put money on it, Will, did Rich catch any fights?
Based off the soundbite, I would say no.
All right. But yes, we had a big night of fights last night. A card that was just changed up a couple days before. There was so much drama going into this.
Yeah.
Some of it blown out of proportion, maybe. But
some of it definitely blown out of proportion.
But either way, it led to UFC 279, Nate Diaz versus Tony Ferguson. Do you want to go ahead and get right into it?
Yeah, and right away, let's see. Bruce Bobtrotter says, shout out Bruce Bobtrotter on here always. If Commission won't allow Khamzat versus Nate, why would they allow Khamzat versus Holland? What is the logic there? Yeah. We're definitely going to talk about that when we get to that fight. But first, we got the boy,
Nate Diaz. Can you see on mine? Represent.
There it is. Nate Diaz versus Tony Ferguson.
Yep, man. So originally Nate Diaz was scheduled to fight Khamzat Chimaev. All this drama goes down backstage. A bunch of people are fighting. There's a weight cut issue. The doctor tells Chimaev apparently that he's not allowed to cut any more weight. Yeah. Khamzat says, I feel like I could have kept on cutting. Ultimately, it leads to the scramble for the UFC to start moving fights around, right?
Yep. Musical chairs.
And it ends up turning into Diaz versus Ferguson, which in my eyes, I believe in your eyes as well, much better matchup for both Tony Ferguson and for Nate Diaz, right?
Yeah, way better than the original plan for the main event and co-main event. When it was like when it was kind of getting closer and closer, and you're like, all right, Nate's fighting at 170 because why? He's fighting Khamzat, a killer. Tony's fighting at 170. Why? They're both towards the end of their career. Like, they're on the same card. They should just be fighting each other. That's what everybody was saying. Like, why are these guys both fighting young killers? They should just be fighting each other. The reason they're fighting young killers is because the UFC is trying to railroad Nate Diaz before he leaves. But ultimately, the MMA gods give him a gift for his long career, and the shakeup happens, and then he ends up fighting Tony. And
we've seen the UFC do this before, right? It's not just with Nate Diaz, but it's with any veteran that has a big name, and they have these young killers coming up, and they're like, well, how can I still get more juice to squeeze, right? And the way I can get more juice to squeeze for somebody that's on their way out at the end of their career is putting them up against somebody that we're trying to build up so that their name starts growing too, based off of them beating their name, their recognized name.
Yeah, it's like the UFC. They're like, we built up this guy's value. Why should he get to capitalize on it without us? So let's sap that value that we built with him and give it to a new prospect so we can build them up. And then once they are at the end of their career, they're going to sap it from them too.
Let's take a withdrawal is pretty much what they're thinking. We've been depositing. Let me withdraw all that, get my ROI, my return on investment, and we'll put it into my next investment, right? Because that's essentially how the UFC views their fighters.
But what's even funnier is with Nate Diaz, it's like they weren't really making those deposits. Despite their best efforts, Nate became who he is now. They tried to keep him down his entire career. They weren't making the deposits. They weren't meeting him halfway. He kind of had to do it himself and speak for himself on that and earn it himself. And then, so I think even more so, they were like, we got to move this over to Khamzat. We got to tank this value before he goes and boxes Jake Paul, all this stuff. But whatever.
It ended up working out at the end.
Yeah, everybody says there's no happy endings. And yeah, the theme of this night, well, for some of them, was some people say there's no happy endings in MMA, right? It always ends bad. BJ Penn, all these guys end up, it's not great. Chuck Liddell's getting knocked out left and right, all this stuff. Here we had a happy ending.
Hey, by the way, when the camera pans over to BJ Penn and he just gives that the dead stare, it's so awesome.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Nate Diaz coming out.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that I loved from Nate, I felt like right off the bat, there was more pressure from Nate. He was checking kicks.
He was aggressive early, yeah.
Yes. He was delivering kicks more in the first round than I can remember in a while.
Yeah, it's hilarious because it's Nate's last UFC fight on his contract. And finally he starts checking leg kicks.
Yeah.
It's insane to me.
It only took 15 years.
Yeah, it took 15 years. And then also on top of that, it's like we have Nate, who his face is a mess with scar tissue. He bleeds every single fight. And he doesn't
really
check leg kicks. And he's fighting a guy who is notorious for making people bleed, right? And it ended up Tony is the one bloody in the face, bloody on his shin from Nate checking leg kicks. Like, this was just a Twilight Zone. This stuff doesn't happen in MMA at the end of people's careers. It just doesn't.
Yeah. And Diaz comes out this time saying, nobody makes me bleed my own blood.
Yeah.
And dude, nobody. No, but I just love watching this fight. And you have Ferguson, who's very unorthodox.
Yeah.
You have Diaz, who's very unorthodox. You put them both together, and it creates a really fun matchup.
Fun. It was very fun. And shout out Regeneration Nation TV. Good morning, my dudes. Yeah. I appreciate you coming on every week. But yeah, the matchup.
The 1-2. The 1-2. And the way he sets up the 1-2 over and over again, you know exactly what Nate Diaz is going to do. And he always finds a way to land that 1-2, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's him feinting with the right hook, and it looks like he's going to go through with it, but he just comes right in with the left. The jab followed by the left, where it's almost thrown at the same time.
Yeah. Oh, it's like it's right behind it.
My personal favorite is where he lifts his leg up like he's gonna kick, and while his leg's still up, he goes tap tap. He just throws the 1-2 right after that. It's so much fun to watch. And I remember leading up to the fight, they asked Diaz how hard is it to switch opponent in such short notice, and he's like, "Well, I was prepping for Khamzat. I guess I'm gonna go watch some video on Tony tonight." But you know what? I think he did a really good job, man. Because
what's funny, real quick, before you move on or before you keep going, he did. There's videos of him at the Motley Crue concert on Friday night, sitting there on his phone watching Tony Ferguson fights.
Yeah,
he did go watch his fights.
like a professional. And
consummate
one of the things
that
perfect timing, Rich, putting the picture up right on time. It's like he's reading my mind. Is that Ferguson, when exiting, does a really good job with the spinning elbows, the spinning back fists. He finds a way to attack, right? When you least expect
in those weird spots. Yeah.
In those weird spots. And every single time Ferguson threw something like that, Nate was expecting it. Every single time. I thought he was going to land at least 2 or 3 of those. Not this time.
There were certainly 2. Also, shout out Regeneration. I was looking forward to the show all night and morning, is what he said. Very cool.
Oh, I appreciate it, Regen. Thank you.
But Nate, early on in this fight, he kept doing this thing anytime Nate would advance, right? Nate would advance and Tony would go, he'd throw and then turn away and kind of be there a little too long. And he used to move really well like that. He would dart out on these weird angles and then he'd be gone, or he'd catch you with something as you try to pursue it. And this time it just wasn't there. Every time he would turn like that, Nate would just just a couple hooks real quick, those battering hooks, with where you're not hitting the clubbing hooks, right? Where you're not turning into it. You're just hitting them with like the whole club of it. And I don't know. I think watching this fight, my initial reaction halfway through the first round was, Khamzat would have killed Nate, and the Leech would have killed Tony. Thank God these guys are fighting each other because they both looked a step behind from what they normally are. I thought Nate looked better than Tony did. I think Tony is probably I think his legs just aren't there. He can't move the way he used to. But I thought Nate did a fantastic job. This was a classic Nate fight, honestly. He just pitter-patters you with the boxing. You're going to chew up his legs until he forces you to make a mistake, and then he wins.
Yeah.
And that's what happened.
You know, and there was something else that I really liked because Nate made an adjustment halfway through the fight. Not even halfway through the fight. He made it early where he did see that Tony was trying to exit quickly. Like you said, he'd come in, lower his shoulder, and kind of try to run out, right, and take a corner and run around. And so Nate started throwing the 1-2, the right, left, and then he'd come in with the right
body
kick,
kick.
whether it's body kick or leg kick. But he said, let me tag him one more time on the exit. And he did such a good job with that too.
Yeah, the follow-up shot where you don't expect it. And that's something that Tony, normally he is out of range in those situations. But in this fight, he just wasn't. And it's credit to Nate for the pressure also, but I think it also has a little bit to do with his knees being absolutely shot. But yeah, like the corner in between, he got him in the fourth round? Yeah. After the third round, they go to Tony's corner and they're like, at some point in this round, put him down, take him down. And I was watching with Kevin and my brother and Katie and Brian's wife. But
hey, shout out to all those folks.
Yeah, we were like, after they said that, we're like, okay, corner, let me just go out there and put him down. And then, like, it's easy, like, it's that easy. And then, man, as soon as Tony shoots, as soon as he shoots, he gets him in the guillotine. He butt scoots out to adjust it even more. And live, they were like, oh, it's tight, and it didn't even look like he connected his hands for the guillotine. And I was like, he's just got him with one arm. What are they talking about? And then all of a sudden he's tapping, and I was like, what the fuck? Did he just get him with a one-arm guillotine, just like big brothered him? And then obviously you can see it fish through a little bit.
Yeah, he like barely grabs onto the edge of his fingers.
Just a little bit.
Yeah,
just a little bit. And yeah, I thought it literally could not have gone better. It was a competitive fight. It was close. The early first few minutes of each round looked very good for Tony, and then Nate just came on strong at the end of every single round, was kind of battering him a little bit. Nobody got seriously hurt, even though in this picture Tony looks a mess. His whole shin is covered in blood from that leaking shin, and the whole right side of his face is bleeding. But no one was ever rocked. It's not
a Ferguson fight without that, you know?
I know. But usually the other guys look like that. But I couldn't have been happier, man. It was the fact that he finishes his UFC career with a guillotine choke on a as soon as someone shoots against a legend like Tony at 2:09 on the clock, and then Joe gives him a fantastic interview in there. It was just, I mean, it was perfect.
Couldn't have been written better.
It literally could not have.
Right, taking a look at this picture, man, I just think a couple legends. I love the fact that that Nick Diaz was in there too.
Dude,
at the end, crew. The whole crew was in there with him too. He starts talking about what he's gonna do in his future. He wants to take over, the boxing game, the jiu-jitsu game. He's like, just hit me up.
Yeah.
And the thing that people need to understand, like I've been reading. Some folks are like, dude, there's no way he's going to become a boxing champion. In Nate's head, taking over the game or taking over the profession is not becoming the champion. It's going over there, doing major numbers, major pay-per-view numbers, everybody talking about him and his fight afterwards. And for him, he won that game, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, he's already talking about how he's like, yeah, this is a twofer on this weekend. I already beat Khamzat. He didn't make it to the fight, so I already beat him. So I'm 1-0 against him, and I just got to beat Tony.
He's so funny, man.
Yeah, this was I mean, yeah, it was everything I could have wanted, honestly. The walkout was incredible. He walks out to Give Me Shelter by Rolling Stones, and then you see him walking out, and he's got Nick there. He's got Richard Perez there, Randy Spence, Richard Perez. Like, I was just like, man, Cesar Gracie's
Chris
there.
Avila, who's been with him for a long time, right?
Yeah, Cesar Gracie's in the back, and like Cesar Gracie's wearing a Represent shirt and jeans. He's not wearing the fucking Venom kit. Like, I was like, this is great, dude. This is just exactly what. I mean, and walking out to the Rolling Stones, that song specifically, I was like, damn, this is so sick.
And last night, was a very good reminder that Nate is a bona fide superstar, man.
Despite the
He
UFC's best
is
efforts.
huge.
Yeah,
People
massive.
showed up
Yeah.
to watch Nate Diaz. We
Yeah.
had fighters, trainers that showed up to watch Nate Diaz.
Yeah. You think BJ
The
would be there
pay-per-view
if it weren't
numbers?
for Nate?
No.
Hell no.
The pay-per-view numbers are because of Nate Diaz. Think about it. This is Nate Diaz versus Tony Ferguson main event, not for a title.
No title fight. Yeah.
But there was a lot of chatter behind it.
Yeah.
Because of Nate Diaz.
Yeah, I think, and Regen just put in the chat too. I enjoyed the main event immensely. It was so much more than just the fight itself. Context matters.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. Because if you look at it without context, right? It's like, okay, Tony's 38. Nate is 20 and 13 coming into this fight. He's 37. It's the last fight on his contract. They're both not ranked. I don't think, at least they shouldn't be. Maybe Tony's still ranked at lightweight for some reason. But yeah, like Bruce Robert said, without context, yeah, this is that. But
without context,
if you don't follow the sport, then yeah, that's exactly what this looks like. But if you follow the sport and you know who these guys are, it makes all the sense in the world that they're the main event. And it was exactly what I think everybody should have hoped for. And I think it was that. I thought it was perfect.
You know who agrees with Bruce Bobtrotter is Dustin Poirier. So
yeah, of course he's gonna say
taking
that.
a look at the tweet that he said, the Bum Olympics, UFC 279, with a picture of Ferguson and Nate there, right?
Yeah, yet Dustin's trying to take the fight.
Dustin might be hanging out with Bruce Bobtrotter. I don't know.
Yeah.
They're sitting on the couch.
He's also simultaneously trying to get on a private jet to take the fight. So
yeah,
like,
exactly.
What are we doing here, Dustin?
Exactly. And then there was another reaction. I don't know if you've heard of this guy. His name's Connor, I think. Connor McGregor. But he posts on there, congrats, Nate Diaz, on making it to the end of his contractual obligations with the UFC. And as a bona fide superstar goer, an incredible feat. Fair play. Our trilogy will happen. So question to you, will we see that trilogy ever?
Yes, we will. And I don't know if it'll be in the UFC.
Ooh.
Yeah. I think
maybe like a Diaz / McGregor production.
I think so. Why should Dana get the cut? Connor's on 2 fights. I think 2 fights left on his deal. If he bangs those out, he's juicing up without USADA, and he'll come back and get a couple wins maybe, and then he goes and fights Nate somewhere else. They do it themselves. I think that's what'll probably happen.
That would be huge.
Yeah,
that would be
why
huge.
why would Tony, or why would Dana get a cut for that? He doesn't need a cut of that. The UFC would take so much money from them if they do that. They do that on themselves, and they can make the card whatever they want to make the card underneath them.
Millions. They make millions.
Yeah. Way more than they would make. All the sponsorship money would go to, they would just make so much more money.
Regen says Octagon,
Yeah. Regen says that he blames a lot on Tony's corner. Seemed Tony's corner advice was basically stop being Tony. This is a good point because Tony went to Jackson's, whatever it is now. For this fight, he switched. He's like, okay, finally, I'm doing a real training camp. I'm not doing my weird bullshit by myself and just bringing guys in to train with and doing backflips off mats and shit like that. He's like, I'm going to a legitimate camp now. 38 years old, probably a little bit too late, but this is what happens, right? This is the weird thing, and it's happened a bunch of times in combat sports, not just MMA. But you take an unorthodox guy who's gotten to the highest of highs being unorthodox, and then you take him to a structured coach. And then what do you do as the structured coach? Do you try to teach him how to jab and put the 1-2 together and exit on angles and do all the fundamentals? Or do you say, look, man, this is what you do. This is why you had success, is you're so unorthodox. But I don't know how to teach that because that's you. That's not me as a coach. And then usually what ends up happening is you do start to try to make them conform to the fundamentals. And it ends up, it's not what they're good at. So it ends up in a weird spot. And I think that's probably a little bit of what happened here. Regen also says, when he was turning around doing weird stuff, I was loving it. Yet they were telling him to stop constantly. Yeah, I mean, it's a little too late.
That, because he did that his entire career. The weird stuff that Regen's talking about right now, he did that his entire career. And it took him on one of the best runs the UFC has ever seen, a 12-fight win streak.
Yeah, in my opinion, there's a handful of guys that are uncrowned champs that never really got their due as a champion. Tony was a champ. Let's be real. He
Yep.
was beating everybody. He was a
Absolutely.
champ, and it got him
Absolutely.
there. And you go to the fact that he went to Greg Jackson too of all camps. It's like I don't even think John Jones is there anymore. Like, what do they have? Holly Holm? Like, they don't. I mean, they're a shell of what they used to be.
Michelle Watterson.
Yeah, and exactly, furthering the point. But yeah, Jack Slack was talking about that, and he was like, it's like he picked a camp based off when he was coming up in the sport that he heard all these good things about, and was like, well, I got to go to a real camp. That's the best one, and like never actually looked into it. Just like went back on like what he was hearing back when he started.
needed Eddie Bravo in his corner.
Yeah, exactly.
Look into it.
Yeah, look into it.
But I did want to mention too, we have fighters who have a large following from fans, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like there's only a core set of fighters that part of the large following is other fighters. And when you see other fighters, other trainers be such huge fans, there's a video right here that just shows front row after Diaz win, their reaction. Rich, if you want to go ahead and play it. I mean, look at this. Look at those folks. You have everybody from Paulo Costa, right? Perillo. Look at that.
Marab and
really,
Sterling.
Aljamain Sterling. You have the dime piece there. Yeah. And, dude, look at that. Cheeto Vera. And you see all these people just celebrating the victory. You know, they all love Nate Diaz. Everybody loves Nate Diaz.
It's like MF
He's
Doom.
one of the realists.
MF Doom, you know, your favorite rapper's favorite rapper. That's
exactly.
Nate Diaz.
It was a fun night, fun to watch. That's all I have to say about the main event. Well, do you have anything else?
If you haven't watched the post-fight press conference that Nate Diaz did, it's fantastic.
I'll have to go through and watch it.
Definitely.
It was already like 12 something over here when it was finally over, and you know your boy over here is old, so I had to go to sleep, dude.
I watched it this morning. Yeah, I didn't watch it live.
Did you?
Yeah.
Nice.
Really good.
Nice.
Really good.
All right, we're ready.
Yeah, we can move on.
Up next, talking about Khamzat Chimaev versus Kevin Holland. Bruce Bob Trotter alluded to this in the beginning of the podcast with the drama. This ended up working out in a way perfectly too, because the drama backstage was from Kevin Holland versus Khamzat Chimaev, where I guess Khamzat front kicked Kevin Holland, was it? A la 300 style. And they were bickering back and forth. So I guess they got to settle that score, huh?
I guess. I mean, the whole shakeup, ultimately, the way I see it is the gods giveth and the gods taketh away. You know, the gods gave us Nate versus Tony, but what did it cost? And it cost Tony versus the Leech, and it cost D-Rod versus Kevin Holland. This is a worse matchup stylistically
for Kevin
not
Holland.
Just for Kevin Holland, but also as a fan. I would have much rather had seen D-Rod versus Kevin Holland. It's a much more interesting matchup to me.
Oh yeah.
This is I mean, we've seen Khamzat fight guys who don't have defensive wrestling, and we've seen Kevin Holland fight wrestlers. So this was like, okay, I mean, I get it. There's some drama. There's some beef between them. And if Khamzat wants to prove a point in this fight, maybe it'll be fun. But outside of that, Dana, in the post-fight press conference, Dana was like, man, nobody could have expected that, right? What Khamzat did. And Kevin Iole was like, oh, I actually predicted that. And he's like, yeah, but nobody would have expected him to just run through him like that and do it like that. And that's kind of in that style. And it's like, Dana, everybody thought that was going to happen. Even Kevin Holland was saying that was going to happen.
I was texting one of my buddies, and he was like, I think this is going to be a stand-up fight, man. And I was like, no, it's not.
No. If Khamzat's an idiot.
Yeah.
But
I said, if anything, he'll get tagged once and be like, okay, that's enough.
Never. Yeah, I was like, he might stand with him until he gets caught with one of those straight shots from out of range like Kevin Holland can land, and then he'll shoot. But then right before the fight started, I was like, he's going to shoot immediately. And then he doesn't even throw a punch. No, not one punch was landed in this fight. There was a couple that Khamzat tried in the stacked guard that Holland evaded both of them, made him punch the ground, which is always funny. But I mean, just from the get-go, he shoots on him. Everybody's saying, oh, there's a fake glove touch. There was no fake glove touch. He didn't reach for a glove touch and then shoot on a takedown to get under it. That didn't happen. There's just some residual Khamzat hate for the whole shakeup and the missing weight, all that stuff. But I thought Kevin Holland did a very good job of using Khamzat's momentum against him. It's just Khamzat is that good. Against a lesser grappler, he would have rolled over and they would have ended up back on their feet. But Khamzat's not a lesser grappler. He's very good.
And that's just one of my notes, man. Khamzat just so seamless on his adjustments with anything that Kevin was doing. And like you said, Kevin was high energy during that time. Because the thing with that is do not stay still.
Yeah.
Do not just lay on your back. Do not accept, because he'll beat the shit out of you after that.
Yeah.
Right? And he didn't.
No, and he didn't. And Holland, to his credit, he said, I'll only do this fight if it's 5 rounds, because Khamzat kind of gassed in the Gilbert fight. And if I can at least make him work for those first 3 rounds, maybe I can catch him in those later rounds, which is hilarious.
And he made him work. He made him work really hard. But so did you notice at the end he was holding his shoulder?
Yes.
Now
it looked a little hurt. Yeah.
I need to go through and see the post-fight press conference, because if you notice when he's rolling, when he's rolling on one of those, and Khamzat's weight landed completely on Kevin
on the shoulder,
and he was like on his neck. So I wonder if it was something that just shot down from his neck down to his shoulder. Because after that roll, Holland slowed down significantly. Interesting.
I'll have to rewatch it.
Yeah, go through and rewatch it, man, because and let me know what you see. And I'm telling you, man, he's rolling on one of those. He rolls. He's so much pressure on his neck, and then after that is when he kind of stops with all that movement. But either way, man, I don't think even if he wouldn't have gotten hurt there, it would have gone much further. No. You know, he's just such a killer, man. Khamzat's such a killer. Yeah. Khamzat going from a fan favorite. Everybody can't wait to see Khamzat be this killer that's just running through everyone. And now you heard all the boos, him walking out, weighing in during his post-fight interview with Joe Rogan. And it looks like Khamzat's just reveling in the role of being a super villain now.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to last. I think people are going to forget all about it, and they're going to be back on the hype train. Because that's what good performances do. They erase all that stuff. But Regen says, I would love to see Khamzat stay at welterweight, prove you can make weight, smash Colby, take title. Yeah, I think that's the route. Dana alluded to potentially making him fight at 185. I don't trust his I don't think he's going to stick with that.
That might just be a threat.
Yeah. It would be kind of cool to see Khamzat go to 185, honestly, because 185 is so awful. But someone was like, would you like to fight
He's
Robert
one of the
Whittaker?
few that I think can dominate both.
Stylistically, he's a fun matchup for some guys at the top of 185, but I don't know if he's big enough to really handle the top of that division. At 170, I think, and that's the other thing, why this fight was even happening with Nate. It's like, why are we derailing the ascension of Khamzat for this fight? It just doesn't make any sense. If he goes to 185, it's Paulo Costa. Regen just puts that in the chat. That's the fight to make if he's going to go to 185. Paulo Costa versus Khamzat.
How fun would that lead up be?
Oh my god, dude!
Him and his secret juice, dude, just walk around yelling at Khamzat.
Because it's hilarious. Because Khamzat's not really like a troll. He's like a shit talker, right? And he's talking about, "Oh, kill everybody." It's like the same line every time. It's getting a little old. Honestly,
smash everybody.
Yeah, it's getting a little old for me. But the funniest thing about it is he's actively trying to talk shit and like do that whole thing. Meanwhile, Paulo is just a troll, dude. And like, I think he would just make him look like an idiot the entire lead up. And that would be a fun fight. I would like that.
It would be fun. All right. So what's next for Kevin Holland?
You get back into it. Back to welterweight. Go into the rankings where he probably should be fighting, which would be a guy at like D-Rod's level. I don't think you make that fight again, but
you have Michelle Pereira, Li Jingliang.
That'd be a fun fight.
Neil Magny,
I would like no Michelle Pereira. That's what I want to see.
But you take a look at the top. You have the 13, 14, 15. Those would all be fun.
Those are the guys. Yeah, those are the guys.
Right. All right.
But Regen says, I just think this one missed weight cut shouldn't derail Khamzat at welterweight. I agree. Khamzat is potentially one fight away from the title at 2 weight classes. Pretty crazy. Yeah, that's it's been a while since there's been somebody like that.
For sure. You ready to move on to the next one?
Speaking of D-Rod.
Yeah. Oh, what a segue, Will. So we have Daniel Rodriguez versus Li Jingliang.
Yeah. Shout out D-Rod. We were supposed to interview him way back in the day.
Didn't work out.
But I don't hold grudges.
We do not hold grudges. Still big D-Rod fans.
Still big D-Rod fan. That being said, the Leech won this fight.
Look, I think what people really need to appreciate is that last night happened because of Li Jingliang.
Yep. I cannot believe
last night
these
happened
guys
because
got booed. I cannot believe these guys got booed.
Yeah. That was rough. But Li Jingliang accepted the fight, knowing D-Rod was going to come in weighing 180. Li Jingliang was ready to weigh in at 170. He's
the only one
gangster.
The only one out of the entire shakeup, the 6 guys that were involved in the shakeups, the only guy that had to take on more weight. Everybody else matched up.
And from what I was reading from multiple sources, I guess it was just one of those things where, reports are they're trying to work out Li Jingliang with D-Rod, but in reality, it was like, hey, Li Jingliang, we need you to fight this person instead of that. He was like, okay.
He said, no problem.
No problem. Let's do it. Can I still show my suit off?
I know.
That's all he wanted to do. My God.
All he wanted.
Can you tell that story?
Yeah. So on the embedded, he's like, he goes to like a suit store, like a tailor or something like that, and they're like tailoring his suit, and he's all excited. He's like, "Yeah, I can't wait to show everybody. Everybody's gonna see. Like, yeah, it was a little off here, but they took it in. Like now it fits good. Like everyone's gonna see it at the press conference." And he like winks at the camera, and then there's a video of him at the press conference that got canceled because of the brawl backstage. And he's about to walk out to the press conference, and he's like getting ready and stuff. He's got a suit. He's like waving to some people, and he's about to start walking. And all of a sudden, like security comes and grabs him. They're like, "Hey, actually, we're canceling the whole thing." And they just take him to the back, and he's just so defeated, man. He wanted everybody to see the suit. It's so funny.
Poor guy, man. If I'm him, I still run out to the stage, and I'm just like waving at everybody, what I mean, with my suit.
Yeah, take a bow.
But so Li Jingliang mixing it up very well. I think that the kicks to the body was such a good plan. Because D-Rod looked a little pudgier, but that's because he came in fighting at 180. Catch weight fight.
You go to
he said, let me see what his cardio is like, right? D-Rod had been out of there how long?
It'd been a while. He had surgery on his hand or something like that, right? Or something.
Yep. I want to say it was like a year.
Yeah.
Since we had last seen him. So I thought that was a very good game plan. D-Rod has a fantastic jab, man.
Yeah, it's incredible.
A fantastic jab. And I feel like he jabbed his way through this fight. Look at that jab right there. Perfect timing with Rich the Casual.
Shout out Rich the Casual.
Might have not watched the fight, but he's watching the podcast right now and making sure that the questions are on point, man. Appreciate it. And that's the one thing that worked for D-Rod. Every once in a while, he would catch Li Jingliang with a check hook. Mm-hmm. Every once in a while, he would throw a combo. I just wish he would have thrown more behind that jab because a lot of it was like jab, step away, jab, step away. And apparently apparently for the judges, that was enough.
Yeah, and it's one thing. I mean, it is important, the jab, and I don't want to knock any of these guys because these guys were preparing for much different. I mean, the Leech was preparing for 38-year-old Tony, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
But so I'll this fight wasn't that exciting, but I won't talk shit about it because of the circumstances. But I don't know. I thought the Leech had the quick takedown in the second. He hurt D-Rod. He hurt D-Rod in the second round. He cracked him once, and D-Rod immediately backed across the octagon to the fence. He was hurt. I thought that was more significant than any of the jabs in the second round. So obviously that for me, that second round was the Leech round. I don't know. I thought I had you could have argued 30-27 for the Leech on this one, but I think the jabs were very good. But that's all D-Rod had, whereas the Leech not only hurt him once, but was over 20 strikes to each section of the body, which is very impressive to me. I think he had like 30-something leg kicks, over 20 shots to the body, 30-something. I mean, he was up and down, working him up and down, and I thought that was incredible.
Yeah, he didn't focus on just one part. Now, that being said, we as fans have to give so much recognition to the last 6 fighters that we just covered.
Yeah.
Jingliang, D-Rod, Khamzat, Kevin Holland, Nate Diaz, Tony Ferguson, because they were all expecting something totally different going into this. And
they made it work. Shout out Ronaldo. D-Rod couldn't do much. Lee head movement was on point. Great fast boxing. Yeah, the head movement from the Leech was very good. He was slipping for all the jabs that D-Rod did land. A lot of them he slipped. He looked very good. And yeah,
hey, shout out Ronaldo86. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, makes it fun.
But yeah, that was pretty much it on that fight. Did you have anything else?
No, I'd like to see. I mean,
look at that shot too.
Yeah, it's great.
That's a great picture. You know, your boy likes dramatic pictures, dude. And I feel like this was awesome.
That's a good one. Can we get D-Rod a full training camp for once?
D-Rod, I know, right?
It's like every time he fights, it's on 2 days' notice, and or the opponent changes. It's crazy. Let's get him a full camp.
Very good call. Very good call. All right, let's go and move on. We had Irene Aldana versus Macy Chiasson.
This was a wild fight. This fight exceeded my expectations. This was
insane.
Yeah, it was incredible. They trade around a piece. First round Aldana, second round Chiasson.
That first round was chaotic, right? With Chiasson coming in, going for the double leg takedown, up against the fence. The way that she lands is such an awkward position, and she lands right into an armbar from Irene.
A nasty one. And she's rolling around. Aldana stays with it. I mean, they were fighting the armbar for a good minute, and it wasn't just like, I'm pulling this, and I'm pulling it back, and I'm pulling. It was rolling and trying to escape and adjusting and torquing. I mean, it was nasty. Some would say that Macy Chiasson tapped.
Okay, yeah, so that's what I was going to say. Because she lands into that armbar. They're kind of working their way out. She lands in a second armbar. And right when she's rolling onto her back from that second armbar, you see one single tap.
On the shin.
On Irene's shin, exactly.
Yeah.
And then it's almost like she tapped, and then she was like, wait, I could probably survive this. Never mind.
Does it take 2 taps? What are the rules on the tap? Because that was a tap.
It was.
But do you need at least 2?
And then that leads into a second round where I'm like, oh my God. Macy Chiasson now on top of Irene.
Now she's
beating the crap out of her.
Yeah.
She's the submission threat. Not just that, but she's landing some elbows. She's landing some shots. So much props, man, for Macy, because in her corner, Safe Saud said, you lost that first round.
Yeah.
We got to do something here. You got to come out. Second round. You got to win the next round.
Looks very good.
And she showed that urgency right off the bat, man. She came out swinging, caught Irene off guard. And now she's on top of Irene, just beating the crap out of her. For what? Solid 2 minutes?
Of
that round?
Yeah, it was a clear swap on the rounds. It was crazy.
And I love fights like this when you're like, okay, it's coming down to the third round. Here's the fight. Here's the fight. These 5 minutes, this is going to decide the fight, right?
Yeah. And usually whoever wins in those split fights, whoever wins the second round usually wins the third. It's very hard to it's very hard to turn the tide back if you're the person who won the first round. And Aldana said, hold my up kicks.
Oof, that up kick to the liver.
Yeah. I thought maybe the way she fell, her arm was down. She had a drop arm. I thought maybe she tweaked her arm, getting out of the stacked guard. It tweaked her shoulder or something, and then she went down because her shoulder was injured. Nope. Straight heel to the liver from the up.
It's your body shutting down and you getting in the most awkward position possible that might alleviate some pain.
Yeah, exactly. And everyone was like, even Aldana was like,
the crowd too.
Yeah.
Aldana's not celebrating. The crowd's quiet. Herzog's over there with Chiasson.
Yeah.
And everybody's trying to figure out what's happening.
Up kick to the liver, TKO. And then he goes back to her. And it's like, damn, Herzog, the robot ref, so good.
But I love how at the end, Irene's walking up and he looks at her and he goes, up kick to liver, first time.
Yeah.
First time. He tells her, and she goes, huh? What? And he's like, first time.
Yeah. I mean, it was incredible.
It was awesome, man. But what a fight. It was such a fun fight. I thought it was a perfect lead up to the last 3 fights of the night.
Yeah. How about this, Katie? Earlier in the night, I don't remember which fight it was, but someone was in that position, right, where there's someone standing over somebody on their back and they're doing the footsie game, and she was like, "What? You can fight like that?" And she was like, she's like, that would be my style. I would be the person that would start and I just lay down and then just kick him away. And then and me and Kevin were like, yeah, it's happened before, like there's been up kick KOs, all this stuff, right? And then and then here we are, the same night. It's like a premonition.
Was Katie like, I told you?
Yeah. Hey, shout out when
awesome.
we did the predictions video, she predicted Leon would end the year with the belt at welterweight.
Did she? Wow. Yeah. Hey, you need to be taking some advice from your wife, man. All right. Next fight. We can go ahead and cover Johnny Walker versus Ian Cutelaba.
Yeah, the after the fight is more interesting than the fight itself. It was a pretty one-sided affair. Johnny Walker. Johnny Walker looked pretty good.
And I want to come out and I want to apologize to Johnny Walker because I picked Ian Cutelaba.
Same.
Because Walker's seemed like he was on his dissension on the way down. Hasn't looked the best since he's been with Kavanaugh. His chin seems to be going out. And I figured that first round's going to be high action. Ian Cutelaba really taking it to Johnny Walker, hoping he lands something.
Yeah.
And he did. He was pretty aggressive. Walker ends up taking Cutelaba's back and working the rear naked choke.
Fantastic job.
Just kept going after threats. Left, right, left. He mixed in a couple shots to the head. And then on one of those where Cutelaba tries to sit up to reposition,
it'll get you.
Walker slips in the arm right away. But it was a very clean finish. Now, that being said,
post-fight,
there's was it a tweet? What was it?
Yeah, Kavanaugh.
Yeah, there's a shot of Johnny Walker choking out Cutelaba. Good stuff. But yes, there's a shot of Johnny Walker, Kavanaugh team apparently got kicked out.
Yeah,
UFC 279.
They didn't have tickets. They don't got room for them backstage.
So, and Kavanaugh says, so at UFC just came and kicked us out. No tickets for us and not allowed to stay backstage to watch. Pulled out back. Not even shoes on. They just said, get the hell out.
There's a video too of there's a video of them like Kavanaugh's talking to the camera and then he flips the camera around and it's just Johnny Walker talking to some people out in the strip and he's just shirtless in his shorts, no shoes, just gloves still on. Like they're just out there on the strip, dude. There's just people walking around. It's crazy.
What happened?
Yeah, and in the post-fight press conference, someone asked Kevin Iole. I think it was the first question that he asked of the whole presser, and Dana's like, he's like, "What? So you think we just went out there and kicked out? Didn't even give him any clothes, just kicked him out into the streets?" And he's like, "That's kind of what it seems like." He was like, "Yeah, I'm sure that's what we did." It's like, why else would he be out there just in his shorts? Basically, just out there in his underwear.
I mean, look, I could see Johnny Walker because he's a character, right?
Yeah,
I could see him being like, "What you want me out of here? Fine, let's go right now."
Yeah,
and he just walks out like that.
Yeah.
But I'm sure somebody from the UFC came up and was like, "Hey, you guys got to get out."
Yeah,
and he's like, "But I just fought." No, yeah, but you guys got to get out.
I'm back in the win column.
But
yeah.
No, yeah, you got to get out.
So
what are we
Imagine
doing?
just walking down the strip, you just see Johnny Walker out there in all fight gear.
Oh,
and you're like, what?
That would be awesome, man. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
But hey, congrats to Johnny Walker for getting back on the win column. Nice to see him back up there. We'll see what's next. He's still in the top 15 with that win. Ian Cutelaba was hoping to break into the top 15. Might be a little bit longer before we see him there. But anything else on that fight?
No. Congrats to old Johnny
right.
Walker. Congrats to Kavanaugh.
Congrats to Kavanaugh. Yeah. We'll get back now to Julian Erosa versus Hakeem Dawodu.
Fucking love Erosa.
You're a big Erosa fan, I know.
How can you not be?
Dawodu missed weight, right? Going into this?
Dawodu missed weight.
So many issues with weight going into this card.
Yeah, Chiasson
left and right.
135. Dawodu misses weight. Right. Khamzat, obviously. Chris Barnett couldn't. But outside of that, what a good fight. What a good fight from Julian Erosa. after the first round, I was like, man, Dawodu's gonna have to come back and do something, and he just never could. Erosa just beat him everywhere. He looked
The
so
dirty
good.
boxing, the uppercuts in the clinch,
Oh my
man.
god.
The lead knee to the body. Every time Dawodu would try to blitz in, he'd give him
Yeah.
that lead knee right to the solar plexus.
Dragging
And then
him
when he
down,
had,
taking his back quick.
oh, dude, it was awesome, man. And then
Yeah.
he has Dawodu hurt at one point. Dawodu moves back towards the cage, and he comes in with that flying knee
Yeah.
that
Nasty.
lands right on his chin.
Yeah.
And props to Dawodu for taking that and absorbing that without. Look, there's the
Look at
picture.
that.
Rich
Knocked his
close
hair
right
back.
on time. Yeah,
What a great
knocked his
photo,
hair
man.
back. It's a great photo. But yeah, I mean, it was just a fantastic performance by Julian Erosa, Juicy J, as some call him.
Yeah, I thought. And shout out to Julian Rosa's mom. She follows us on Instagram. But so shout out. But yeah, I thought that first round.
Miss Juicy
Yeah,
J.
yeah. I thought that first round was a clear 10-8 round, but not one judge gave it to him. We had Dawodu hurt twice. He had him really hurt twice in that first
I
round.
mean, we've said this before. We don't know what it really takes anymore to get a 10-8.
Yeah, and there was 10-8s on the night. There were some 10-8s throughout the card, but yeah, I thought that was enough for a 10-8. Shout out Region says, "I told you moms love this show."
He did say that last week, actually.
Yeah.
He did say that last week. He's absolutely right. But that was that was it for that fight. What else do you have on that fight?
No, I mean, Juicy J, man, every time everybody doubts him and he comes through, he did exactly what he needed to do to beat a guy like Dawodu, and it was very entertaining for me.
Props to Dawodu. Props to Erosa. Props to Erosa's mom. And we'll move on to the next fight.
Yep. Yeah, we're already 47 minutes in.
Yeah, we'll go through the rest of these fights rather quickly. We had Almeida versus Turkalj.
Yeah, you got to talk about it because Almeida is going to fight for the belt at some point at some weight class. But this fight shouldn't have been sanctioned.
No. Bruce Broadtrotter earlier said, how was Khamzat sanctioned versus Holland? Really, how was this one sanctioned?
Yeah, I mean, and shout out to Anton. You know, when you get the call, you got to take it. He didn't get the contract on the Contender Series. They call him to fight this killer, and he's like, let's do it. Hopefully he got paid more than $10,000 for this beating because it honestly kind of seemed like Almeida was like, I'm just going to take this guy down and sub him. And then when that wasn't quite working, he was like, I guess I'm going to have to start hitting this guy. And as soon as he started hitting him, it was insane, the reactions he was getting from
the elbows, man. The elbows that he landed when he was in mount. And
that side mount kind of up against the cage where he's throwing those uppercuts. Every time he was hitting him, Anton was looking in another direction. It was like, what are we doing here? Why are we even doing this?
Somebody help me.
Yeah.
Where's the ref to stop this? That's what he's thinking. All I know is Paris wouldn't have sanctioned this.
Hell no. Hell no. But Almeida is going to be a champ, I think. At least he'll fight for the belt. I don't know. It was weird. They called this a catchweight fight at 220, but isn't that just heavyweight?
Yes.
Like what?
That was weird to me. That was weird to me. So I don't know what was going on there.
Yeah. Let's get Almeida some ranked fighters, please. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Stop
soon.
Giving him. Yeah, now. Let's get him in the top 10 now.
Okay, top 10. Who would you put up against him? Shot out of a cannon. Let's go heavyweight. If
we're going heavyweight, it's even easier, right? Let me pull up the rankings really quick. I got it right here. So
give him Dawkins. Marcin Tybura.
Yeah, Dawkins is a good one. He was supposed to fight Shamil in this one, so that would have been a ranked opponent, right? He's ranked 14. Yeah, give him Dawkins. Let's go.
That's at light heavyweight, who do you give him? Ryan Spann, Johnny Walker?
No, I think Ryan Spann's booked. Fuck it, let's go.
Thiago Santos?
He's still ranked. He's signed with the PFL.
I know. That's what I was going to say. Didn't he just leave?
He's probably gone on Tuesday when they update the rankings. But, man, don't give him Justin Jacoby. I don't know. Paul Craig coming off a loss. Ryan Spann has a fight booked. I don't know. Anybody in there?
All right.
Ozdemir. Let's go. Throw him up there, man. Throw him to the Wolves. He's ready, dude. That guy is right away. He's a savage.
He is. We'll move on. Tiuliulin.
Everybody will be talking about him soon. Yeah.
Was this one we're covering? I can't remember.
I didn't think so, but
okay. Well, then let's move on because we only got 10 minutes left, man.
Yeah. Nut shots. The story of the fight. Nut shots.
Yeah. Chris Barnett versus Jake Collier.
The fight of the night.
Oh my God.
This was the fight of the night. I mean, you say there's no people say there's no happy endings in MMA. Here's another one. This was incredible, man. This fight got me on my feet, man. Me and Kevin were watching it. Opening round, Jake, and for those who don't know, Chris Barnett missed weight. He's the second UFC heavyweight to ever miss weight. But I mean, he's been dealing with some things personally in his life.
Yeah.
You know, he had his fiance pass away. And
that is so rough.
It's even more rough when you're the one who has to pull the plug. So I don't know. I give some leeway, right, to Chris Barnett, but they come out. Rough. It's bad, man. It's real bad. And he's just such a positive guy all the time too. Throughout his whole career, he's just been so positive and like, man, it's bad. But he goes out and Jake Collier cracks him early. Within like the first 20 seconds, cracks him, drops him, gets back up. They're swinging, drops him again, gets back up. His eyes swelling shut already. And he's just head down throwing with them. They're swinging and banging. Two heavyweights.
I think that's the shot that actually closed his eye up.
Probably. Yeah.
Right on the eyeball.
And it was early. It was at the beginning of the fight. And
I think Mark Smith was like, "Can you see?" And he goes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, fantastic reffing fantastic all around in this fight from everybody involved. But after he got up, he recovered very well. And him and Collier just fucking went to war. They just toe-to-toe center of the cage, just swinging on each other.
And if you're Collier, people are like, "Oh, he messed up. He gassed out." Look, if you're Collier, he was hurt. I would have done the exact same thing. Yeah, I can put him away right now.
Yeah, he took him down and did a fantastic job on the top. They almost called it from the ground and pound.
So close.
Yeah, and Barnett did just enough to get out of there, get back up, go back to war. Second round. And the doctor, they pulled a doctor in to look at his eye. By the way,
I could be a doctor for the Nevada State Athletic Commission because I could walk in there too and be like, "Oh, his left eye is completely shut. Let me pull it open and then ask,
so we can see.
Can you see? Yeah. Yes, cool. And then let's go with the eye." It was like, let's go.
He didn't even do the thing, like the count.
No, he was like, follow my finger.
Look over here. Look over here. I'll hold your eye open. Don't worry.
Yeah.
You follow it.
He's good.
Yeah.
I saw that.
Thank God he did. Yeah. And thank God he did. Because Barnett goes out there in the second round and once again, toe to toe, swinging and banging. Collier shoots on the takedown and he doesn't get it. Barnett does a fantastic job, kind of sprawling. And before Collier can even get up, and granted, everyone's kind of shit talking a little bit. Oh, he was slow to get up. He just kind of laid there. Dude, they're heavyweights. They're 260. Yeah. They cut weight to 265, and they're exhausted after swinging on each other. Give a man some break,
Yeah.
But credit where credit's due.
Barnett danced all the way in too. That takes a lot of energy.
Yeah, but when he shot him and he defended that takedown, and Barnett was able to swing around and get to that turtle position so fast for a heavyweight. For a heavyweight who just got dropped twice in the first round and was going to war, the fact that he was able to spin around him that quick was insane to me. Rolls him over to mount and then just batters him until he gasses out, and then he just batters him some more until the ref stops it. It was incredible. What a fantastic fight,
man. What a fight. And then the end, you see the celebration where he does the front flip. Look at that shot right booth. There. Yeah, that is an amazing picture right there of Barnett after the front flip, holding his hands up. The crowd, look at the crowd standing, man, cheering.
Yeah.
It was just an awesome ending there for Barnett. And especially knowing all the things that he went through recently. And you just think, this guy had to dig deep, man. And in his head, he's probably thinking, if I just survived and I went through what I recently went through, this is nothing.
Yeah,
I could do
100%.
this.
Yeah, 100%.
Not a lesser man would have been like, hey, live to fight another day.
You get dropped those first 2 times in the first round. That's your ticket out. Is it easy to take that ticket out? But he didn't. And he comes back and gets not only comes back and gets the win, but gets the finish in the second round. And then the interview,
and the
post-fight interview, man.
Exactly. Oh my God. So good.
Yeah.
I got chills when he was doing that, when he was in the middle of the post-fight interview. And I know that somebody's in Joe's ear saying, hey, man, we got to speed this up. There was a lot of fights that went, all 3 rounds. We're a little bit behind in production time. and Joe was having to cut him off sometimes. In my head, I'm
Mhm.
like, Joe, give this guy all the time in
Give
the
him his
world,
moment.
please.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he deserved it.
Yeah. And man, some of the stuff he was saying too, just appreciating the crowd, just like happy to be there. Like, man, I mean, gotta love the guy.
Gotta love him.
Everybody thought he had a
Gotta love
broken jaw. I don't think it was broken. I think it was just. Oh, I know it wasn't broken now, but even in the moment, I thought it was just. I think it split on the inside, and he was just kind of like chewing on it a little bit, and it was like almost like a nervous tick. I think he had a broken nose, but maybe get the guy a ride home from the hospital. He posts on. He goes,
another incident where you're like, UFC, what are you doing?
what are we doing, man? The UFC is just such a ridiculous half-ass promotion nowadays.
This event was such a cluster,
shit show.
man.
Yeah,
It was from the weigh-ins to Johnny Walker getting kicked out
Cancel
to
the
them
press
taking
conference.
Barnett to the hospital and then not having a ride to pick him up.
He goes live on Instagram. He's just walking down the street. You're talking about how he doesn't have a ride. I mean, what are we doing? You guys
He's
want?
like,
You guys
"Where's the van?"
want? Yeah, you guys want to act like they're the top echelon of the sport. It's like, dude, get your shit together. What are we doing?
Makes for some great content, though.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, we have 2 fights left to cover. Let's go Norma Dumont versus Danyelle Wolf.
Yeah, it'll be a quick one. I mean, again, what is the commission doing? I get it. Danyelle Wolf has a lot of experience boxing, but she's 1-0, and in the UFC.
Hey, she cracked Dumont a couple times. I
Yeah,
felt
but
like
it's
this was a
also
case of
women's featherweight.
but Norma Dumont, this is somebody. What is she ranked 4th?
I don't think there are rankings.
I don't know. Okay,
I honestly
but
don't
either
think they're
way,
ranking for women's featherweight.
they're saying that this is somebody that's going to be challenging for a title here soon. I would have loved to see Dumont come out the way that Chimaev did and say, "Hey, this is a step down in competition for me. Let me run through this person." I wasn't too impressed.
No.
I wasn't too impressed. All right.
That's about it.
Yes. Alatengheili versus Anheliger.
As Rich speeds through the pictures that are on the slides.
Yeah, let's just get those pictures out of the way. Rich. Thanks, man.
Alatengheili, very exciting.
Yes.
He's got good hands. He got good work. Cardio to last all 3 rounds, and really hurt Anheliger a lot in this fight. He just couldn't quite put him away. But I thought it was a very good showing, and it's definitely something to keep an eye on moving forward.
Anheliger with so many feints, man. Constantly up, down, feigning forward, feigning kicks, feigning punches. And Alatengheili was like, "It's all right. I'll just sit here until you actually throw something. And when you throw something, I'm eating it with my right. And it's an accurate right. And it's an accurate left. And I'm putting you up against the fence." And
I'm hurting you.
And Anheliger didn't have very many answers. I thought he was going to be out that first round.
Yeah, me too. It looked bad for a little bit. Props to him for surviving that round, honestly.
For sure.
Credit where credit's due. But yeah, you gotta, if you're feinting that much, you also have to commit sometimes to make people bite on the feints. Because if you're just feinting, then you're just like, okay,
that's
he's
when
just feinting.
Alatengheili just sat back. And again, it's probably watching footage, studying, and saying, okay, I don't have to react very much to these feints. I'm just gonna wait to find my spots, and I'll be fine.
Yeah, feints help your actual punches, and punches help your feints. But you have to do both. You can't do one or the other. You have to do both.
Those are the only fights we're covering right on time, right before the hour mark. But we still have to cover the moment of silence, Will.
Yeah, moment of silence. Nate versus Khamzat, Tony versus Elite, D-Rod versus Kevin. Yeah. But Baeza was supposed to be on this card. Darian Weeks took the fight on short notice to fight Johan Lanese. But Baeza was supposed to take that fight. That would have been very fun. I'm a big fan of Baeza. Sterling versus Dillashaw was supposed to be on this card. That did not happen. Almeida was supposed to fight Shamil. Couldn't get into the country or something. So they got the dude from the Contender Series, Anton. But that would have been better because it would have got Almeida into the top 10, probably, at least the top 15 at heavyweight. Cyphers was supposed to fight Melissa Martinez. Instead, Mark Zuckerberg stepped in and fought her and got the win. So that's about it.
Awesome, man. Awesome. And then we also have bonuses. Monies.
Yeah, Bonuses. Nate Diaz got a performance bonus. Let's see. Aldana got a performance bonus for her heel kick to the liver, the up kick. Johnny Walker got a performance bonus for his rear naked choke. And they said, here's 50 grand. Get the fuck out. And then Almeida got one for beating a guy who's not supposed to be on the roster. But so obviously Khamzat would have gotten a bonus, but they're like, maybe not. Which is kind of weird because he didn't technically miss weight now because of the switch up in opponents. Because, I mean, if he's not going to get fined, then he technically didn't miss weight. So that means he's eligible for a performance bonus. Maybe some pettiness from the UFC, which is probably well-deserved. But the real bummer is that here's the thing. Barnett and Collier, that was fight of the night. But it can't win it because Barnett missed weight. But does that mean Collier shouldn't get anything? I mean, that's kind of ridiculous in my opinion. I think both those guys. And Dana said in the post-fight press conference that Barnett's going to get a bonus, just not officially. And I hope Collier does too, because it takes two to tango. And it wasn't like, it's not like Barnett went out there and got a crazy finish without, I mean, the reason the finish was so crazy was because of Collier's performance.
The lead up.
Yeah. And especially what Collier did. So I think he deserves a bonus too. I hope he got something.
I agree with you 100%, man. That being said, I hope that, because the UFC is known for giving like bonuses, right? Unannounced, under the table, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that Diaz got a little bit extra in the 50 grand for still holding down the card at the end.
They got Ferguson. They all got it. In the post-fight press conference, they asked Dana, like, how much extra money did they get? And he was like, they already have deals. They have their own deals. Which means I'm not going to talk about it because then there's tax.
You know why?
And the commission gets some of it and all this stuff.
But it's not just
they also don't want fighters to negotiate.
Exactly. Because if you start letting people know, hey, we had to negotiate for this card to happen, guess what's going to happen in the later cards?
Yep.
Monkey see, monkey do, right? So
yeah. So they all got paid. Everyone's saying, wow, the UFC's so stingy. They didn't even pay these guys extra. Come on.
They did.
Get real. They got extra.
But unfortunately, to pay those folks extra, they had to sacrifice. They couldn't get Johnny Walker tickets, and they couldn't get a ride for Barnett. They're like, hey, dude, that's killing our budget. We can't, guys. We actually just had to scalpel your tickets, Johnny Walker, to make up for the other fight. So, all right, next week we have UFC Fight Night, Sanheng versus Song Yadong.
Yeah, great matchup, great poster. The UFC finally doing a good poster. It's been a while.
It's a fantastic poster.
It's really cool.
What else do you have on there that sticks out to you?
Chidi and Jaquani versus RoboCop. Gregory Rodriguez. That's a great fight. That's a very good fight. Tanner Boser versus Nascimento.
Always like watching Boser, though.
Yeah. Bill Alzo versus Andre Fili has potential there, I think. Depends which Andre Fili shows up. Damon Jackson versus Pat Sabatini is going to be a pretty grueling grappling contest. I think that's going to be fun. Anthony Hernandez versus Marc-Andre Barrio is a good one.
Trevin Giles back in this.
Yeah, Trevin Giles is good. Who's he taking on? Luis Coast. He just fought, didn't he? I don't know. Yeah.
I wonder how many of these folks are gonna be from the same camp, from Team Alpha Male.
Yeah. Loma Lukmunme versus Denise Gomez is a good fight too. I wonder if that stays as the opener. Gravely versus Basharat's pretty good too. That's a pretty good card.
Yeah, all right.
On paper,
that's all I got for this week. Well, do you have anything else?
No, I don't think so.
All right. So shout out to Bruce Bobtrotter, Regen, for always joining us as well. We also had who was it? Another person that hopped on there at the end. I'm looking for the name. Cannot find it. Ronaldo86. Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us. For anybody that hasn't subscribed yet, please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell on YouTube. We're trying to reach 2,000 subscribers. And if you don't like watching, but you like listening, Spotify, Breaker, Podcast Radio, Public, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Anchor FM, wherever podcasts are found, or you can even talk to us on social media.
Yeah, it's at Story the Fight on TikTok, Reddit, Twitch, Instagram, Twitter, everywhere.
All right. Again, Regen, shout out to you guys. Amazing shows. Really, really appreciate the support. And for anybody, also, Regen has their own channel as well. They're growing like crazy.
Hell yeah.
So go check them out as well. But I want to thank everybody. I want to thank Rich because this show is actually produced by Richard Bustos. Just so everybody knows. Hey, there we go. And thank you everybody for joining us for another week. A Story of the Fight. Shout out Stockton 209.